Stick a fork in the 2018 season. The Giants lose to the Reds 7-1. And the Reds win the series. And this is pretty much, this season's over for the Giants for all intents and purposes. Stick a fork in it. The nail is in the coffin. Turn out the lights. The party's over. No matter how you sum it up, it's game over for the Giants for 2018. Time to move on to 2019. This is Giants Roundup on Saturday night, August 18th. You can follow on Twitter, join the Crook and Kite page on Facebook. Most importantly, please be kind and hit that subscribe button. And yes, tonight has to be the moment where you have to move on to 2019. This Giants team, forget about the playoffs. It's not happening this year. And there's going to be a lot more questions than answers going into the 2019 season. And you got a few weeks to figure it out here. Madison Bumgarner was not good tonight. He did allow 6 runs, 5 earned in 6 innings pitched, allowed 8 hits, struck out 6, walked 2. And started with the Peraza home run in the 4th inning, 1-0 Reds, and then Dixon doubles to right. It scores Scooter Gennett and Tucker Barnhart 3-0. And then Irvin sacrifices. It scores Peraza. Scooter scores. This is the bottom of the 5th, 5-0 Reds. And then Herrera home runs to center, 6-0 Reds. That would be the end of Bumgarner's night. Hunter Strickland would come in and allow another earned run in the 7th inning. When Suarez would single to shallow center, it scores Gennett, 7-0 Reds. But the Giants do save it in a long out, in a grounder, in a fielder's choice. It scores Andrew McCutchen. And that would be your final score of 7-1 Reds. Matt Harvey, 6 1/3 scoreless innings, strikes out 5. Drops the ERA down below 5 to 4.91 on the season. Cody Reed allows an earned run. And then Michael Lorenzen, 2 innings pitched without an earned run. So that, and then part of that deflating feeling has to probably come from the fact that they lost Derek Rodriguez to a leg injury. He's going to be out for at least 10 days and hopefully not too much longer. But with the season pretty much being lost, maybe you shut him down if he's not anywhere near ready to go. But then the Giants' rotation's pretty bad as it is already. And then Hunter Strickland was, of course, the other roster move today as he was activated off the 60-day disabled list. And being placed on the 60-day disabled list today was Pablo Sandoval. Brandon Belt left the game. We don't know if it was due to injury or if it was just his poor hitting. He would come in, and Austin Slater would come in the 8th inning. And Belt goes 0 for 3. Joe Panic 2 for 4. So not too bad there for Panic. Duggar 0 for 2. Then Gorkis comes in. But this season, tonight was the nail in the coffin for the Giants. Yes, well, hello, Rob Humphrey. How are you doing? You really thought this would be a series where the bats would get going. So did I. I thought this would be a series where I wish it would have happened, but unfortunately it didn't. And now the Giants' season's pretty much DUN for the year. And now it's going to be a very interesting offseason coming up for the Giants. They really have to mold the idea of listening to offers for Madison Bumgarner this offseason. Especially, I just have that feeling that at this point in time, you're not getting don't even think about the idea of going after Bryce Harper. The pitching's good, but it's not that good. And the bullpen's great, but you going over to the Cincinnati game tomorrow? I hope you have a good one at the Reds game tomorrow. I'm just hoping the Giants don't get swept here. But if you are Bobby Evans and Brian Sabian here, you have to start mulling the idea. You really have to start the waiver process as soon as right now on starting the waiver process on Sam Dyson and Andrew McCutchen. And probably maybe a team like Philadelphia could use Andrew McCutchen. Maybe get back a mid-level pitching prospect or two back from Philadelphia for Andrew McCutchen. Certainly teams need bullpen help. Dyson you probably won't get you anything more than a lottery ticket prospect. But with Dyson being arbitration eligible, you have to get Dyson out of here. That way you can start. You really have to start thinking of 2019 at this point. And there's not a lot of realistic call-ups here for September. That's what's even worse. I'd like to maybe see a Ramis Ramirez now get a call-up here in September to be added to the four to come up. Buster's not. It's time to start thinking about moving Buster to first next year. It may be time to see if there's any takers this offseason for Brandon Belt. I just think maybe Belt's better off elsewhere. Of course, you can start talking to the Yankees about Madison Bumgarner. What kind of return would you get from the New York Yankees for Bumgarner this offseason at winter meetings? You have to start thinking about that. Belt, you just got to find some taker, even though you may have to retain some of his salary to get him out of there. But with Buster Posey's imminent move to first base, and I think next season might be the time to start moving Buster to first with his health issues and really, and if he does play catcher next year, it's going to be in more of a scaled back role. So we need to see if Aramis can split reps with Buster Posey here in September. So we'll see if Aramis Garcia gets the call up here. Then you got Ray Black. I think Ray Black has certainly got a bright future. Derek Rodriguez. Andy Suarez. I'm hoping Suarez can – I could give Suarez another year. Maybe bring back Derek Holland on the cheap next year. Bring in another rehab project next year. But you really have to start thinking about 2019. And even in the front office, there's going to have to maybe be some major changes this offseason. And one of the ideas that may have to go for the Giants from here is, what do you do with Bruce Bochy? I don't know if you want Bochy to be a lame duck manager next year. If I am Brian Sabian, I think it's maybe time for Brian Sabian to have a nice have a discussion with Bochy about his future. You might have to tell him, look, you're not going to get your contract extended after next season. Your options are to either you can have your farewell season in 2019, or you can move up to the front office and avoid being the lame duck manager next year. And that's something that I think Bochy needs to maybe step aside. He's had a great run. I thank him for the 3 championships in 5 years. That was a great run. But I think his voice has gotten stale. There's been times this year where I've just seen him really disinterested in the games. My biggest beef with Bochy this year is his stubbornness to use Austin Slater. I don't like his mismanagement of Austin Slater. And Slater needs to be playing more. I really like Austin Slater. His bat needs to be in the lineup more. He's not going to hit for power, but he does get hits. And, he needs to get as much opportunity as Steven Duggar's getting. But for McCutchen, get him to a contender, get a prospect back. Dyson, he's had a great run, get a prospect back. But the focus has to be on 2019. the focus has to be on changing the culture. There's going to need to be culture change. It might mean, as I say, Bochy may have to go, Bobby Evans may have to go. It may be a total house cleaning. Giants have to. This is not a good team. And what do you do if you don't? And what's going to happen once Bryce Harper shuns the Giants? I don't want Bryce Harper here. He's too much of a hothead. And I have not liked the way Rob Manfred's has put these very terrible suspensions on some of these players as of late. I think, honestly, with Yasiel Puig, he should have got more than 2 games. I think 5 games would have better fit the punishment. And Puig, I don't see the Dodgers wanting Puig back next year. He's too much of a hothead. I'm just not a fan of Puig. And then after that, and then you got Jose Urena of the Marlins, who only gets 6 games for a very intentional, flagrant beanball that could have seriously injured Ronald Acuna Jr. He gets a slap on the wrist. He should have got at least 15 games for that hit by pitch. That could have seriously hurt him, and that was really chicken shit of him and bush league of him. And the punishment did not fit the crime there. And I really don't want Rob Manfred bringing a boys have at it mentality in Major League Baseball. I don't want that have at it boys that they're having in NASCAR. I just don't want baseball turning into a soap opera where it's okay to fight. It's okay to clear the benches just to get ratings up. Somebody could get seriously hurt. And look at Rodriguez. He got hurt because he tried to be the peacemaker. But he could have. But I hope maybe the Marlins will DFA Jose Urena. And Rob Manfred is just really starting to turn into maybe one of the worst commissioners in professional sports. Gary Bettman's had that reputation for the longest time. When you go to a hockey game, he always gets booed. Then now it's been Roger Goodell. Goodell's really starting to get close to Gary Bettman territory. And Manfred's really starting to ruin the game of baseball. And I really think we're going to see a striker lockout in 2021. Players don't like the idea of a pitch clock. They don't want the shrinking strike zone. But we are going to see what happens with that. But I think there's going to be a lot of egg on Rob Manfred's face when there is a strike or lockout in 2021. And last thing we need is have at it boys in baseball. We really don't. I really think that this bench clearing mentality has to stop. First thing you do is, if I'm the commissioner, I would make a rule: if players leave the bench, you're going to get fined for leaving a bench to participate. The rest of the professional leagues, you get fined if you leave the bench to participate. NBA, there is 0 tolerance. It's an automatic suspension. So if you want fighting to get down, you want to stop this beanball mentality, start nipping it in the butt where you get fined if you leave the bench. They do that in minor leagues already. It works out pretty well. And then stiffer suspensions. It's just, we don't need players getting hurt because of bench clearing brawls. And Manfred really dropped the ball on these 2 suspensions. Puig should have got 5 games. I think Urena realistically needed 15 games to 20 games for his stupid and selfish act of the beanball. That's just, and he could have And luckily, Acuna wasn't too bad off, and Urana's going to get what's coming the next time they face Atlanta. It's going to get really interesting in that. But back with the Giants, this season's pretty much stick a fork in it, and who do you call it? Maybe you call it Tyler Rogers, get the Submariner some opportunities. Maybe Chris Shaw in a bench role, perhaps. Chris Shaw needs to be protected in the 40-man roster, so that's a realistic September call-up at this point. But other than that, the farm's really bare. Other than that, it's really you're just going to get Pierce Johnson back up, maybe Derek Law, maybe Josh Osich, who's probably not going to be back in the Giants organization next year. Mac Williamson could be done in the Giants organization. You really have to hope we get some good, but we do have some good pitching coming up next year. We've got possibly Tyler Herb, who could be ready for the Giants. Sean Anderson, I think he's a year away from being a viable option in the Giants starting rotation. And then we'll see what other arms get called up here into Sacramento this offseason. You got Luigi Ramirez, who will be up in AAA next year. And then you got, I think maybe we'll see if Jonah Arenado could maybe get the jump to AAA next year. I know Jonah Arenado, the brother of Nolan Arenado, was hitting better as of late in Richmond. See, Jonah Arenado was hitting as of late. His average he's hitting 215 in AA. He might start in Richmond next year. He might start in AAA next year. And then Luigi Rodriguez, that's definitely maybe a name you got to start watching for in AAA next year. I think Luigi will be promoted next year, hitting 278. He's had $13 home runs on the year. He's hit. Luigi could be, like I said, I think we'll see if Luigi can make the jump to. It's not going to be a great class of AA people coming up to AAA next year. But this is something that also the Giants need to really be. This is why else that we need to start seeing the idea of trading Madison Bumgarner this offseason is the fact there is not a lot of prospects in the cupboard. The cupboard is really bare. And a good start to getting some prospects back in the pipeline would be trading Madison Bumgarner, trading Brandon Belt, especially with Buster Posey's imminent move to first base. That's got to happen. And then just hopefully we'll see what happens in 2019, but I'm not holding my breath on Bryce Harper coming to San Francisco. Maybe they're more realistic option in free agency, and I hope they don't go after Michael Brantley. I don't need another. Last thing we need another struggling veteran in the majors next year. So we'll see what happens there. But maybe you go after some pitching. Maybe you go after Patrick Corbin, Charlie Morton Jr. The free agency class is just not great. I think you just embrace the tank and see what happens. I really think the focus may be on 2020. The focus may be on culture change next year. And hopefully this is the night where step one happens by placing what you need to place on waivers at this point. And with that, I am going to declare this season a close. Put this season to a close. Let's, for all intents and purposes, that is, we'll be back on air tomorrow. But tomorrow the Giants will try to avoid a sweep at Great American Ballpark. It'll be Andy Suarez trying to be the stopper going against Luis Castillo. Then after that, they go to Queens and play a Mets team with good pitching. And that's just been the problem the last two, since 2016, has been the bats. They tried bringing in, reassigning Hensley Mullins to bench coach. They tried bringing in Alonzo Powell. That didn't help much, and that's why else I think the problem is Bochy. The problem might be Bochy with the hitting. I don't know what's going on, but maybe this is something a new manager can solve. So we'll see what happens there. Well, let's look at the record for tonight. With this loss, they are 61-63, 7.5 games out of the division. As I'd say, this is pretty much, this is almost just a hole they can't get out of at this point. I don't see a miracle run in them. So, to me, I think this season you can just but if you were to go with the wild card, Giants are 7 back, so that's not good either. The tragic number is 32. So essentially that margin of error, and I think they needed to go 13-3 on this roadie. It's not going to happen now with 0. And I'd say that's just, for all intents and purposes, this season's over. Let's go to the MLB Roundup for tonight. In Minnesota, the Tigers beat the Twins 7-5. Taking the win is Ryan Carpenter. Taking the loss, Tyler Duffy, who surrenders 3 earned in 2 1/3 innings pitched. Joe Mauer goes 3 for 5 for Minnesota. Tyler Austin goes 3 for 4. Mauer hits his 5th home run of the year. Austin his 11th home run of the year. Cole Stewart allows 3 earned in 2 2/3 innings pitched. And Joe Jimenez 2 earned and 2/3 of an inning pitch for Detroit. In the Bronx, the Yankees beat the Blue Jays 11-6. Taking the win is Luis Severino, who strikes out 5 in 8 innings and strikes out 8 in 5 innings pitched. Ugh. Taking the loss is Sean Reed Foley, who surrenders 6 earned in 4 1/3 innings pitched. Miguel Andujar goes 3 for 5 for the Bombers tonight. Hits his 20th home run of the year. And Giancarlo Stanton hits his 32nd home run of the year. And then Luis Santos 3 earned in 2/3 of an inning pitched. Tommy Conley 3 runs 2 earned in 2/3 of an inning pitched for the Bombers. In Oakland, the A's beat the Astros 7-1, taking the win. Trevor Cahill, who strikes out 7 in 7 innings pitched. 7 scoreless innings, only allows 1 hit. And the only earned run was surrendered by Yasmero Petit in garbage time in the 9th inning. Dallas Keuchel gets pounded for 5 earned in 5 2/3 innings pitched. Brad Peacock 2 earned in 1 inning pitched for Houston. And guess what? Oakland is now tied for first place in the AL West at 74 and 49 on the year. Chris Davis goes 2 for 4. Jed Lowry 1 for 4. Matt Olson 2 for 4. Steven Piscotty 2 for 4. Josh Fagley 2 for 4. And Oakland, as I say, Oakland and Houston this is going to be playoff baseball with first place on the line tomorrow at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. The battle for first place tomorrow, as the A's will look to sweep the Astros. In Philly tonight, the Mets beat the Phillies 3-1, taking the win. Jacob deGrom, who pitches a shutout, 9 scoreless innings, 9 strikeouts, only allows 1 unearned run, 7 hits allowed. Taking the loss, Jake Arrieta, who just did not get any run support tonight. Maikel Franco goes 2 for 3 for the Phillies. In Cleveland, the Orioles beat the Indians 4-2, taking the win, Alex Cobb. Taking the loss is Adam Plutko, who surrenders 3 earned and 7 innings pitched. And Cobb gets that ERA down to 5.09, so maybe there's hope to move him on waivers here the next couple weeks for Baltimore. In Pittsburgh, the Pirates beat the Cubs 3-1, taking the win. Joe Musgroves. Taking the loss is Tyler Chatwood, who surrenders 3 earned in 2 innings pitched, walks 3. Corey Dickerson goes 3 for 3 for the Pirates. In D.C., the Marlins beat the Nationals 7-5, taking the win. Drew Streckenrider taking the loss. Coda Glover, who surrenders 2 earned in 1 inning pitched. Adam Eaton, pinch hitting, going 2 for 2 tonight. And Tehran Guerrero, 2 earned and 1/3 of an inning pitched for the Fish tonight. In Boston, the Red Sox beat the Rays 5-2. Taking the win is David Price, who strikes out 8 in 7 innings pitched. Yes, the price is right, Davey. Hello, Azofer. How's it going tonight? Oh, I remember Denny Nagel. Pitched for the Pirates for a while. But yeah, the price was right for Davey tonight. 7 innings, 2 earned, 8 strikeouts. Tyler Glasnow takes the loss for the Rays tonight. In Atlanta, the Rockies beat the Braves 5-3. Oh, wow. Take a look at that. Yeah, it looks like Nagel also had some garbage, some baggage, unfortunately, with the sex scandal. We'll see where he's coaching nowadays. Wow, he's the coach of your baseball team. That's amazing. I'm hoping he's doing better than he's done after his legal issues on that. But in Colorado tonight, the Rockies beat the Braves 5-3, taking the win. Adam Ottavino. Taking the loss is Luke Jackson, who surrenders 2 earned and 1 1/3 innings pitched. Ronald Acuna Jr. does it again, 3 for 4 for Atlanta. And Mike Foltynewicz, 7 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts. Sanzatella, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned. Minter takes the pounding, 3 earned and 2/3 of an inning pitched for Atlanta. Brian Shaw, an earned run, and 1 inning pitched for Colorado. In Chicago, the Royals beat the White Sox 3-1. Taking the win, Brad Keller. Taking the loss is Dylan Covey. And a tough loss, 2 earned and 5 2/3 for him. Adam Engel, 2 for 3 for Chicago. In St. Louis, the Cardinals beat the Brewers 7-2, taking the win, Miles Mikolas. And taking the loss is Wade Miley. And don't look now, the Cardinals are now in second place in the NL Central. If you're the St. Louis, you really have to start thinking about pulling that interim tag off of Mike Schilt. He has pulled a Lazarus with the St. Louis Cardinals at this point. Corey Nebel, 2 runs, 1 earned, and 1 inning pitched. And if you're the Brewers, you have to really start thinking about getting a starter off the waiver wire at this point. But St. Louis is now, yes, St. Louis is now climbed their way back into the wild card at this point. Games currently in progress in Texas right now. The Angels lead the Rangers 3-2 in the end of the 3rd inning. Albert Pujols 2 for 2 in his 19th home run of the year. Elvis Andrus 2 for 2 for the Rangers. Heaney is allowed 2 earned and 3 innings pitched. Martin Perez 3 earned and 3 innings pitched for Texas. Currently in San Diego, the Padres and the D-backs tied at 6 apiece in the bottom of the 8th inning. Freddie Galvis 2 for 3 for the Friars. Eduardo Escobar 3 for 4. AJ Pollock 2 for 3. Paul Goldschmidt, have yourself a game, 4 for 4 for Arizona. Matt Godley, not a good night, 6 earned and 5 innings pitched. Clayton Richard, 5 earned and 5 innings pitched. We shall see, and it's now going into the 9th inning over there in San Diego. And in Seattle, the Seattle Mariners currently lead the LA Dodgers 4-1. Kyle Seager going 1 for 1 for the Mariners. Guillermo Heredia goes 1 for 1 for the Mariners. Erasmo Ramirez has allowed 1 earned run in 4 innings pitched and 4 walks. Rich Hill, 4 earned runs in 3 innings pitched and 3 walks. And let's see the wild card. If the season were to end today, right now we would have a 1-game playoff in the AL West to determine the winner between the A's and the Astros. And the winner of that would host Cleveland in the first round. Boston would play the winner of the wild card, and the Yankees would host the loser of Houston, and Oakland would be the second wild card. Seattle 4 games back of the wild card and slip sliding out of it. In the NL, Chicago would host the winner of St. Louis and Philly. That's right. St. Louis has climbed itself back into the wild card at 68-56. And Atlanta would host Arizona in the other bracket there. And Colorado a half a game back. The Milwaukee Brewers a half a game back. LA a game and a half back. Pittsburgh and Washington starting to slip out of it at 6 games back, along with the Giants at 7 games back. Tonight, down on the farm, and we are getting very close to the PCL playoffs here. In the bottom of the 4th inning, the Grizzlies lead the Tacoma Rainiers 1-0. And the magic number for the Fresno Grizzlies is 10 to clinch a playoff spot. And tonight, the River Cats lose to the Albuquerque Isotopes 6-2. Peter Bourgeot goes 3-for-5. Tyler Herb allows 6 runs, 4 earned in 6 innings pitched for Sacramento. David Holmberg, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned, 6 strikeouts. And this will conclude it for your Saturday night. Everybody have a great Saturday. And tomorrow it will be a 10 a.m. game. So tomorrow will be a matinee edition of Giants Roundup, unofficially presented by Starbucks Coffee. Everybody have a great night, and let's just hope we don't get swept tomorrow.